I'll train you to spin fire. The NFT and LLSR. Diving deep into projects. He's the crypto energizer. From your mint coins to tokens. He's got all the intel. Web3 is a tree to show you where to excel. He's got the insights like a digital magician, unveiling secrets of the blockchain with precision. Wild stories from the web is
all right, good morning, guys. Mega GMs. Welcome to Slam Nation. Merry Christmas. Do you say that yet? It might be a little early. I'm not familiar with your traditions here. But it's Christmas Eve. I'm like legit very new-ish to Christmas. Didn't celebrate it growing up. I didn't. Okay, no excuses. I got kids. We're doing the Christmas thing. But yeah, even when we do the Christmas thing, we do the show. You guys know, especially you guys who've been tuning in every day for 2.5 years now. We do it on the holidays too. So better believe we'll have a Christmas show tomorrow too. Okay. Extra casual today, also extra awesome show coming at you today. Okay, I'm trying to get a couple extra streams set up here this morning. I am live, I believe. Yeah, we're live on Zora now too. Hey, pretty cool. We're in a lot of spots and great for having such a great guest on here today. Okay, coming at you live on Abstract. We're live on X. We're live on Kick. We're live on Zora. We're live on YouTube. All the places. Pick your favorite spot. Home base, of course, here on YouTube. Wherever you're watching, though, smash the like. Make sure you do come over to YouTube, though, and subscribe over here. It's home base. Home base. Man, I want to get the Zora stream tweeted out. While I'm doing that, though, let me just say, really excited for today's guest. I've taken a little break from guests. Half of it, partially on purpose, right? We had the marathon show last week. We had 20 or so guests on. It might be a little more, it might be a little less, but right, we had Yatsu, we had Yahoo Finance. We had Mythical Games, Dapper Labs, Nature Race. It's like Nature Race is awesome. One of my favorites. Just so cool. This is our first show, since then with just a standalone guest. And even before that, we had gone probably 2-ish weeks between just having an individual, like a solo project on. I think the last one was Reply Core. And before that was what? Repo. I'll say this, we're curating a really, really good, like incredible guest list on the show at this point. A lot of big winners. And I'll tell you, coming on today in about 25 minutes is Neox. And I think they belong in that conversation when we talk about those like really great projects that launch on virtuals. I think they're going to be in that conversation. Make the spidey senses tingle. I tweeted this out. Yeah, I think that one's special. So really looking forward to chat with them. I believe founder coming on here. But again, in about 25 minutes. Can't wait for that chat. Cats, good morning, man. Merry Christmas Eve, dude. Boy, oh boy. Yeah, today's going to be fun. Are you feeling the holiday vibes, Cats? I'm there. I think I'm there. Okay, I got to get this show tweeted out. And should probably share the stream link with our guest. Again, they'll come on shortly. Okay. We're going to do like super casual this morning. I don't want to, there's not even a lot going on. I don't want to get too deep into anything. Yeah, Cats. Yeah. Did rapping last night, right? And you're deep into that. I'm sure you're deep into that. You got the full crew. By the way, you can follow me at Hudah_idiot on X. Of course, Slam Nation X, guys. Man, if you're building applications, I have to chat with the Neox guys about this too. But if you're building here in crypto, dashboards, agents, alpha, insights, whatever, you need data to power these things. You do. The best data out there, bar none. It's Crypto Slam data. We have the NFT stuff, of course. It's what most people know us for. I hope we've started changing some people's minds and, like impressions over the past, year especially. Everything on chain now. Everything on chain, but especially on Base and ETH. If you're building in this ecosystem, you need to tap into our data. Come reach out to us, SlamNation X over on X. We'll bring you in. We'll tap you into our API. We'll give you some free credits to go see the data, touch the data, use the data. I'm telling you, the best data. No, really like the best data. We'll even build you custom endpoints. So reach out. Also want to put you on the show. This is my favorite thing, is just talking to the projects and giving you the chance to share your projects and what you're building and why it's so important and right, like, love this side of it. So come on the show as well. Of course, follow Crypto Slam IO. And you saw the sneak peek, or you saw the little teaser trailer. We're like Marvel here, putting out teasers. But make sure you're following Ethos Swarm and you check out our little teaser for what's coming. More soon. All right. Hoods, good morning, man. Good to see you, bro. Look, are they our friends? Our friends on the other sides of the markets here? They're our friends. Actually, it should be us too. We should be trading this stuff as well. But the precious metals, oh, man, deeper into all-time highs. Silver now flips Apple to become the third largest asset class or asset in the world. Crazy. Silver over $70. Crazy. Gold, same thing. All-time highs. Gold, all-time highs. Seems like everywhere except here in crypto. Man, I'll tell you this, boys. I'm very excited about how I hear people talking about crypto right now. And it's not bullish. They're not talking about it in a bullish way. But that's what gets me excited. I say this a lot, right? There's a certain thing people need to say. There's a certain thing people need to say for me to realize we're at a bottom. And I'll tell you, we never got it in the bear market. It's people saying that crypto's dead and never coming back. There was a big missing thing last bear market. We never had it. FTX, collapses, bear market. We didn't have people saying crypto's never coming back, that it's dead. We didn't have that. We had people instead saying that people like buying the dip, people like just buying and expecting NFTs to come back every bit as big as they were before. And same with all the cryptos, right? Expecting it. There was nobody who thought crypto was dead back then. There wasn't. And if you were here before that previous cycles, like, you remember those times. You remember during previous bear markets, there was real fear. And I had this too. This is how I know. Been here for 8+ years. God, has it been? It's been maybe longer. But I remember in the bear markets before, you genuinely thought, damn, okay, the crypto thing isn't going to work out, is it? It's really, really dead. I missed it. Genuinely what it feels like, and you need that to have the other side, the other extreme, the euphoria. You need that. We never got it. We never got it last bear market. I'm excited for it. Again, I'll speak on this more in just a moment. We had some interesting numbers yesterday regarding the economy. GDP up 4.7%. I'm no freaking macro expert, but pretty damn good numbers. Yes, pretty damn good numbers. Q3 GDP 4.3%. Okay. I see the talking heads. I see analysts talking about how great this is, how the economy, you keep hearing this, right? The economy strong. Again, you see it in metals and you see it in the stock market too, all-time highs. Like, we're seeing stuff. Why don't we feel it? And I'm not talking about crypto, maybe a little crypto. I'm talking about like personal life. I'm talking about friends. I'm talking about family. I'm talking about like normal people. Why don't normal people feel this at all? And why are normal people feeling, you guys check me if I'm wrong. Why are normal people seeming extra like worried, scared right now? Why is that? There's a big disconnect here. When you have the White House saying strong, best we've ever been, and people I know struggling, and the job market scary, and a lot of fears that it only gets worse. In fact, part of why I think crypto is struggling like it is right now. Part of it. Bank of America, again, comments everywhere about how great yesterday's reports numbers were. This scares me. I'll just say it. Anybody, okay, even if you're a Trump guy, if you're a Trump fan, Trump girl, whatever, you saw this post from Trump on Truth Social. Does this scare anybody a little bit? Is this a little weird, worrisome, whatever? I'm just asking. I don't know. Talking about those numbers yesterday, up 4.2%. It was predicted to be 2.5%. And then commenting on something that is really interesting. It does feel like the market's kind of changed, but good news used to mean market go up. It used to mean that. Good news used to mean something, you know? And the same in crypto. Good news used to mean token prices pump. Have the markets matured? Is it different people who move these markets now? Because it's the complete opposite. Good news usually is flat, down. People have already positioned and maybe are out of their positions. I think this is a much more matured market, or it's a sign of the end of these markets. Don't know. But it's interesting when President Trump is calling exactly this out. Exactly this out. And he's actually saying he thinks it's because, well, people assume interest rates then will go up. And so he's looking for a new Fed chair who isn't looking to do that. It's a crazy ass post. I'll say that. It's a crazy ass post. And then also saying he thinks we could see GDP up to 10, 15, 20%. This worries me a lot. I'll just be honest. It worries me a lot. Quickly, let's look at the crypto market. We'll continue on this, but I do want to share some of the things I'm hearing in private groups, private chats, whatever. Interesting stuff. Also, damn, hang on. Let's get this tweeted out from the Slam Nation account. Give me a sec, boys. Okay. Boy, sometimes streaming in extra places, it becomes maybe it's just like one too many things to juggle at the start of a show. That could be. That might be it. I might have finally reached that point. Okay, hang on. By the way, hey, Moonship, thank you. Oh yeah, hang on. Let me share this real quick. This comes from my brother Anthony, who has edited videos for me personally before, and then he did a little with Crypto Slam too. Awesome freaking guy. Works with Base now. Awesome freaking guy. But so shout out to Anthony for sending me the official Base ugly sweatshirt thingy. Thank you, dude. Okay, yeah, that's cool. Even cooler, let me say this. Even cooler, I got a sweet package in the mail. Bro, I got a Beeple print. I have got a physical Beeple print. It's a real deal Beeple. This is from Diffuse Control. This is Diffuse Control. It's on display at the LACMA. And come on, dude, freaking awesome. So I tweeted this out, and it was okay, this was so cool. 2 weeks ago. It was on my birthday. I get a text from him. He didn't know it was my birthday. I don't tell people. And I get a text from him that he's there, and he's showing it to me and all this stuff, and he offered to grab me one. I'm like, bro, come on. That's so free. Yes. Hell yeah. Need it, want it. Yes. So he picked out, physical statue, right? It's what do you even call it? I mean, let's call it a statue. You've seen it, that big, kind of cube rectangle thing. And you've got some controls. You can change the image. You can change how the diffusion. There's a couple parameters you can actually tweak and get an output you like, and then print it, and then they ship it to you. And there it is. And I can't wait. This is going on my wall next to the only other NFT art, or I don't want to say NFT because this is not an NFT, but the only other digital art I have on my wall is Zancan, one of his generative art pieces that I got printed out, plotted. That one's awesome. Only thing I have on my wall is the Zancan. Now we'll have a Beeple on the wall too. Man, come on, so cool. Anyway, what a treat. Cool little care package yesterday. So good stuff. All right. I think I got this tweeted. I think we're good. I think we can continue. Yep, we're good. All right, boys. Anyway, looking at the crypto market. Hey, Santa Rally's still in play. I got to tell you. I'll just say, man, last 5 days of December, first 2 days of January. That's the Santa Rally. That's Santa Rally's in play, and I'm still going to bet on it. I still think Santa Rally coming, Santa Rally possible. I'm going to bet on it. We'll see. Bitcoin right now at 87.3, ETH 2,900, BNB 842, Ripple 187, and Solana 122. It's not great, right? It's not great. Expecting kind of like weekends, just low volume. We've got the market closes early today, completely closed tomorrow. Again, crypto trades whenever, but just low volume. This is what happens. And I am so sure people are reading way too much into crypto Twitter sentiment, crypto Twitter vibes, crypto Twitter being quiet. Yes, there's been an algo change, but I'm so sure because we see this every year, things get quiet now. Things get quiet now. I think people are misreading a lot of what's going on out there. That's my belief. And again, I'll get to the comments I'm seeing in chats, but ETF volume real quick. Bitcoin, 188 mil in outflows. It's not been a good stretch for the ETFs. Over on Ethereum, 95.5 mil in outflows. And then Solana, I'm guessing it's inflows here. And yeah, 4.2 mil in inflows. There we go. We'll skip this, but Bloomberg analyst predicting Bitcoin, maybe 10K, like silly stuff. I'm sorry, I'm not there. But still, it's like why metal's running. I don't have an answer for you, boys. I know I missed it. I know I'm not in it. I'm not winning over on that side too, but why not crypto? Why not crypto? I'll tell you this. I don't trust the market right now. And that's like all sides of it. I'm hoping. Are we, guys, okay. Are we hoping Trump crimes this market next year? Is that what we're hoping for? Is that what the bet is? That crime drives the market next year? Because I don't think that's going to be a good foundation. I don't think that's going to be enough for me to get back in and start playing. In fact, why I'm kind of excited, really excited to talk Neox here is maybe that's the stuff I need to be focused on. Just some like much safer, just farming some yields out there. And I know a lot of you guys are doing that. I'm not. In fact, I'll chat with them about why I'm not. I want to see how they address some of my, reservations about yield farming. It's a me problem. It's not like I'm not very trusting. I'll put it that way. But okay. So multiple group chats of mine, and I want to hear some feedback from any of you guys who are listening. Multiple group chats of mine are talking about Bitcoin's fine, everything else going to zero. Not like a crazy take either, right? Not unusual. We've thought that for maybe a long time, but it's heating up right now. And there's a lot of people who think it's really over. And I'm kind of even guilty of this myself, saying, yeah, okay, I believe NFTs long term, but I'm thinking short term, dead. Just dead. In my group chats, full of really smart people are saying, not just with NFTs, but thinking broader crypto, dead, over. Like actually done. Altcoin's not gonna be worth anything. Meme coin's done. And it's only Bitcoin. Bitcoin is the only thing that matters. And I'm with them there. But that everything else is done. And then we see these takes out there, and I bet these are true, that we're hearing from the younger generation, that crypto isn't even cool to them. They have no interest in it. And I believe that. My kids have the slightest interest, but my kids are different. They get to see dad do some interesting stuff and sometimes make some money, and so that's cool. But like younger generation, do you think they give a shit about crypto right now? I highly doubt it. I really do doubt it. And by the way, I think that's bullish. Again, I'll speak on why. Okay. And takes like this. Again, it's all part of the same conversation. Golden years of crypto are not coming back. Calling 2020 and 2021. I can't tell if you're fucking with me, Moonship. I can't tell. Are you fucking with me, bro? No, I'm kidding, but also like, because right now it's really trendy to like poke at people who are saying it's different, just getting started. But like, I think you're messing. It's just getting started, like the orangey meme. I'm sorry. I still think crypto's got a really special time ahead. I don't think it's right now. But I don't think the golden years are done. And I don't think, look, if we don't relive what we saw before, I think we'll see something similar. I think we'll see something close. And by the way, I still do think Bitcoin's going to 1 million. That means the best part of the crypto market is probably still ahead of us. That's what I think. Best part still ahead. No, look at all the new money coming in, laws being passed. I still can't tell if you're messing with me. No, I can't. I think you're not. And I'm with you. and it's stable coins that's bringing it in, and there's more dominoes to fall there. I'm with you, dude. I think the best. I think most crypto guys think Bitcoin's going to a mill. Bitcoin specifically going to a mill. Sorry, but that's going to look a kind of way. That's going to look like a much bigger thing than, well, I don't know, Bitcoin from 10K to 100K. It's going to mean more. It's going to be a bigger thing. It'll be more money here in this space. Market cap of crypto is going to be massive. Yeah, I don't think the golden era is behind us. And I'm happy to see people saying that. I'm very happy. I'll say it again, and I'll say it every day. You don't get the euphoria without the other side, and we never got the other side. And yes, we had some euphoria this cycle. We had with, Bitcoin all-time high, and we had Trump meme and stuff like that. We had stuff. We had some really awesome things happen in this market. But I never felt the euphoria of last cycle. And I think we didn't feel the euphoria of last cycle. Look, could be that I'm in the wrong stuff. That could be. I missed most of the meme stuff. I didn't play it till closer to the end. But again, we didn't have people saying crypto's over. We never got that kind of sentiment in the bear market. And I see it everywhere now. It's everywhere. Crypto's done. It's over. The best time's behind us. That's exactly what we needed. Because now all you have is all the people from last cycle, anybody, if anybody actually new came in, who now understand crypto, they get it. And the second this stuff turns around, they realize the potential that's there. They realize what happened last time, and they're not going to take a chance of missing it. These are people who understood the tech and understood what it could mean if this is like adopted at like wide scale, if the markets are put on chain. They understood that, and they might have lost faith in that idea. But the second it even feels like that's coming back, they're coming back. They're coming back. And to anybody who's saying that crypto isn't cool, I agree. It might not be cool right now. The coolest thing ever is when something's worth a lot of money or somebody's making a lot of money. We see this all the time, how quickly that can change. The cringiest, lamest thing, it's a meme here in the space. Your NFT art is garbage, except when it's worth $100,000. It looks historic, right? Something being cool doesn't mean cool, not cool doesn't mean what it used to. You see this. You see how like even, celebs, politicians, whatever, you can rehab your image overnight, right? Something can go from not cool to cool in an instant and works the other way. None of this matters anymore. None of it matters. It's a completely different world now. Crypto, not cool right now. Instantly cool with one catalyst. One thing happens. And all those people who said it's dead and they're moving on and they're playing the stock market or they're playing metals and they're doing whatever else, they're all coming back. They're all coming back, and there's no way that doesn't happen. There's no way. Really, really excited about what's coming. Bitcoin was at 15K after FTX. Now Bitcoin's at 90 and futters are like, isn't it crazy, dude? It's crazy. And like, see, even more nuanced, a lot of them still say Bitcoin totally fine. It's the rest that are going to die. And I still think everything's overvalued, but like, man, at this point, I understand what these speculative little hypey cycles are. And I do think we were in a bubble, but I don't think that bubble's done. And in crypto, I think, I like that idea that the bubble's popped, it's dispersed into everything, and there will be bubbles all over the place. We'll get more AI. We're going to have new sectors born that we haven't even thought of yet here that are built off, blockchain tech and using AI and, right, the whole robotics thing. I still don't see the plays there, but I get that they're coming, and I get that I'm probably going to miss them if I don't stay on top of it. It's a lot of stuff coming to be excited about. Really excited about. Okay, let me blitz through some rest. Then we got Neox up here in 4 minutes. Unemployment likely heading higher. Like I'm telling you, my kids are looking for jobs and they're struggling. I got an 18-year-old and I have a 15-year-old who's newly looking for work, and that's a little different. But like those entry-level jobs are not there. You can't find them. There's nothing. This is like one of the most worrisome things here. Is the job market. It's what the Fed, it's what Jerome Powell said he's most worried about. What they're most focused on is the jobs market. And some leading indicators here. U.S. heavy truck sales down to 5.1 mil over the last 12 months. I don't know what that means, but the lowest since 2020. Not great. Lowest level in 8 years, not counting the pandemic. Not great. One of those leading indicators. We'll see if we have this big economic boom next year, like a new, industrial revolution around AI. I hope it makes sense that it happens. Do I believe it's going to happen next year? I don't know. One day, yes. Maybe no rate cuts in January. That's what polymarket traders are saying. We'll see. All right, let me hit some tokens real quick. I'll also say Scott Besson is, I listened to this morning, most of it. Interesting interview if you want to get hear where his head is at for next year. All right. Come on, Cookie, dude. You got to get this site. You got to get this site working. Every day I look at cookie.fun and it's wrong. I'm going to check, but right now showing a $37.8 billion market cap, and we've had it showing in the trillion. It's always something. It's always something. Actually, I'll say this again, working as, for a data aggregator, data company. I get how that can happen. On-chain things can make things look really funny. But yeah, we've got this token Karma that's showing a $32 billion market cap. Yeah. Come on. Yeah. It happens. It happens. Okay. I'm not going to go over every token, but I am going to shout out Pippin. Also shout out Mike Bennett, who I think is cooking on Pippin. Guys, Pippin wicked up to I think 700 mil. Pippin is ridiculous, boys, and I'm not in it. What a bummer. Again, I think 6 or 700 mil. Crazy. All right, real quick, let's look at the virtuals board, see if there's anything new coming up. But yeah, not a lot that's got me excited. Although Hyperbet, I'm still watching. Hyperbet. TD's got his post coming out. We'll see if that's just emotions, feels. We'll see if TD was really scammed on a previous product from these guys. But hey, they got my attention at least. And I like the idea, a gambling casino platform where you create the games, AI tools to help you create it. Come on, that's cool. So I'm watching. Next week, we'll dive a little more into these. I remember Morse, again, I thought was interesting. Do I think it's game-changing? No. Redex, same thing. Interesting stuff. Nothing I think is going to be, nothing on the board that's crazy right now. So we'll keep an eye on that next week. And then quickly, look at some of those previous launches here. Most important ones. It is Neox. Like I said before, they've entered, I believe already that there's this different class of virtuals projects. There just is. There's those guys. It's like the VPays and the Mute, and even Reply, and these recent ones, and Repo. It's those guys. It's like a different caliber. Neox is there. Cats. Let's see. Even if it's legit, can't see buying it. Right. If they're buying up token right out of the gates and they're pushing it to 6 mil FDV, who's buying there? I wouldn't touch it. Yeah. It's a good shout. All right, Jeff, I see you, man. Give a thumbs up if it's cool to bring you up. There we go. All right. Give me a quick second. Shuffle some screens around. I think that's the one. There we go. Hey, good to see you, Jeff.
You too, buddy. How's things?
Dude, really good. Merry Christmas? Is it too early to say that?
It's Christmas Eve. I think we can finally say it.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. Well, Merry Christmas to you. Man, I'm excited about this chat. We've had kind of a dry spell on virtuals, and it's all of crypto right now. It's just kind of a dry spell. We go sometimes weeks without seeing something worthy of our excitement and attention. And you guys were on the board, and chat saw it. I saw it. We're like, this is different. This is a different one. This is one to be paying attention to. And like I was saying, you probably heard before, but I do think you're already, it's a more mature product, like what you're offering. So I think you're already in this different kind of class, caliber, whatever, of the launches on virtual. So yeah, that's what I think. Let's get into it though. You are the infra layer for connecting banks, hedge funds, businesses to optimize stablecoin yields across chains and protocols. I love it already because it's a topic I'm really immature on, as in I don't yield farm. It's something I've wanted to learn more about. It's something I want to start doing. And, but I've been researching. I've understood a lot more over the past couple months here. So the timing, at least for me, perfect. Is this product also meant for normies like me, just normal customer?
Yeah. So we released what we call our B2C dashboard before we went live. Right. And that's for everyday users like yourself, myself. And it's phase one of 3 phases of development. And the reason why it's phase one is so we can get direct feedback from the regular users, right? Get feedback about how it works, any issues they're facing. We can get real-time data on the sort of agentic engine that we have under the hood, which we can get into. But it's all feedback for the API that we're building that connects those businesses. Because if you think about it, you want to make sure you iron out any problems, bugs, kinks before you start, offering access to DeFi yields to other businesses, right? Whether it's games or perpetual dexes or whatever else, but in particular, then phase 3, neobanks, fintechs, and whatever else. So yeah.
Yeah. Okay, real cool. I'm gonna try to switch screens. I wanted to wait till you were done talking because it might pull you off. Let me try real quick.
Cool. I'll stay here.
Not that one. I had this big show last week and I had to kind of last minute build out some new layouts, and I think I broke something. I'll get it here though. Let's try here. I think I can get this one to work. Hang on. Yeah, that's the one. That'll work. Okay. Appreciate your patience there, man. Okay, dude, again, it's really, really interesting. Okay, so you're not offering yields directly on your platform. Maybe you are, you can clarify there, but it's more like you're connecting yield providers to, again, like I said at the beginning, like businesses, anybody who's looking to actually earn yield, right?
Correct. Yeah. So we're like a middleware is the easiest way to think about it. We're the connective tissue that connects yield opportunities across different chains and different protocols via one interface and a single deposit.
What's so cool about that is, okay, as I'm trying to learn more about this, I realized I didn't have a great central location to go to see what options I even have out there to farm yields. I didn't know. I was at the mercy of crypto Twitter, of them tweet and say, hey, this hot new thing came out, farm yields, here's X APY, whatever. And I'm like, okay, I guess that's where I go, I guess. I don't trust crypto Twitter. I don't. And to be honest, and I'm curious here, I don't trust a lot of I guess some of the yield farming platforms. I don't trust it. I'm so scared from all these, you see these stories out there, X protocol hacked and how many millions just evaporated, poof, right? I stay away from it. That's the 2 reasons though. I don't know where to go and I'm worried about my funds. Maybe for right now, if you could speak on funds and what happens when you're trying to, or when you're farming yield, maybe through your platform, you're connecting the dots. What does that process look like?
Yeah. So what you just described there is a typical issue for the vast majority of people getting involved in DeFi. And DeFi really hasn't taken off in the way that we think it has or would like it to, right? When we first built out the B2C dashboard, our goal was to go after sort of regular everyday consumers. It soon becomes very apparent that there are very, very few real people in DeFi using it for that purpose. In fact, what's in DeFi is primarily liquidity pool providers, whales. They provide these massive deposits, $1 million, $5 million, $10 million in USDC to farm rewards, right? From Blast Chain or Bearer Chain or whatever the new flavor of the month is. And they leave it sitting there. And then when they get their tokens, they remove the liquidity, they dump the token and they move it somewhere else. And this is just what DeFi is through and through. And so the issue is that we can no longer expect more people to come into DeFi because, number one, it's super complex. And even current solutions, which I'm a huge fan of, the likes of Giza and Zi-Fi, those agentic wallet solutions, they just make DeFi easier for DeFi users. They're not really solving the issue of bringing more people into DeFi. And so instead, you need to bring DeFi to where those people are. But as you said, I think also DeFi is a very, very easy sector in crypto to set up a scam. Right. And so I use this example with the sort of the ETH, staked ETH, liquid staking ETH and restaking ETH. It's I've got Ethereum. Let's say I've got 10 Ethereum. I deposit it on Lido. I get my ST-ETH. I take my ST-ETH and put an eigenlayer. I get my OR-ETH, which is 8%. I take my OR-ETH and I put it on platform A, which I get X-ETH. And then, there's an exploit, backdoor exploit or whatever it is. All my funds are lost. Good luck getting your ETH back, because you can't, because you have to do the whole chain reversal. And so this is what happened in DeFi as well. People were looking at ways, people were depositing liquidity. They were offering you 200-300% APY with their token. People were depositing their capital. All of a sudden, there'd be an exploit. They take the real money. You'd be left with this worthless token. And it got so bad that people just didn't want to go near DeFi. They don't know what chains, what protocols, what's good yield, what's bad yield. And so that's why we decided to step in. So We came in after the failure of like Celsius, BlockFi, Voyager, centralized lending borrowing markets that screwed up, right? And I know people who've lost their life savings on platforms like that. And I thought DeFi offers a better way to do this, but it's also really high risk. So how can we offer competitive yields with centralized platforms in a decentralized way? And so the idea for Neox was born, right? And it's been obviously iteration after iteration. We went from B2C to B2B, but our whole ethos is safe DeFi. So again, we can get into the infrastructure, but we've got a yield agent which predicts future yields. We've got a risk agent which is very, very heavy on the sort of the risk mitigation side, right? It's about capital preservation. And then we've got a routing agent which routes the capital on behalf of the users, right? But we only use tier 1 protocols, battle tested many years. Your Aave, your Compounds, your Caminos, they've been around for a long time. They've got deep liquidity. They've got a history of performance. People have tried to hack them many times unsuccessfully. That's number one. Number two, we use over collateralized stablecoins, USDT and USDC primarily, centralized in nature, but over collateralized. If they depeg, it's easy to repeg. USDC, for example, is regulated, it's IPO'd. And so the goal here is not to give you 15, 20, 30% APYs. It's to give you a stable like 8, 10, 12, 14%, right? And that's going to fluctuate. Our goal is 10% plus. Which is better than you get in TradFi. And so if you can offer that in a very safe and secure way, then all of a sudden DeFi becomes a very trustworthy and more attractive proposition. So I'll pause there and see if you have any questions, or we can dive into anything.
Well, I guess a lot of questions. I guess okay, this is like a super like smooth brain normie, I think, question, but it sometimes feels like it's just free money out there. Right. And anytime there's free, easy money, it feels like there's a risk with it. What is the risk with, let's just say, yields like this in general, like yield farming?
So with the ones that we use like Aave or Compound, the highest risk would be exploits of those pools, right? So a hacker gaining access to the pools and draining liquidity. That's why we use tier 1, as I describe it, which is, battle tested through many cycles. So generally, when it comes to DeFi, they are the safest bet. Now, if you talk to somebody in traditional finance, they'll go, "You're mad. It's like the most risky thing on the planet." But you need to understand the space that you're in, right? Because I live and breathe this space since 2017. So to me, there are certain things that are super high risk and not high risk. I generally think it's interesting because I've watched this, through many cycles, and UST, if you remember, Luna stablecoin was offering 20% yield on Anchor, and everyone was going mad for it. And then UST collapsed, and everyone's like, anything over 10% yield is a clear scam in stablecoins. And nowadays, no one's going to touch a stablecoin unless it has double digits, 15, 20, 30% even, right? They want these crazy returns again. And it just goes to show the human nature and how the mind works and how quickly people forget. So generally speaking, what I would always say is, if a yield sounds too good to be true, and when I say too good, I'm talking about 15, 20%, there's something going on in the background, right? Generally, we've had this really big increase. Obviously, stable coins have become a stable narrative, like really hot right now. So hot.
So hot.
So hot right now. Yield-bearing stable coins have become a really big thing as well, of course, off the back of that. And what people need to remember is, to compete as a yield-bearing stablecoin with an established provider, you need to give better yields. And to give better yields, you need to take higher risks. And a lot of these are like leveraged trading positions on, centralized or decentralized exchanges. They're looping strategies that might have several loops in the chain, where if one breaks, a whole house of cards comes down. And they don't often divulge where they're getting those yields from. They're sort of black box strategies. And so what I would always say is, anyone who's getting involved in yield farming or trying to get yield under stable coins, stick to USDT or USDC, stick to the top protocols. So you can go to defilama.com, check out the yields of those two stable coins, and go for the ones that have 50, 60, $70 million or more in deposits, and make sure that they've got a history of performance as well. You'll generally get 5 to 10%. That's pretty solid. I mean, your bank's giving you 1 to 2. So, and it's auto compounded every day. So,
yep. Wow. I love this. How much are you watching the regulatory environment here in the States, right? Because there is this big pushback. Like, we had the Genius Act pass, and now there's this push to limit. I think what they're trying to do is limit some of the yields that crypto providers can even give, right? Because they're trying to have banks actually have some way to be competitive. Is that kind of top of mind for you? Are you very focused on that right now?
Yeah, so I mean, this is something we just have put out an article actually very recently, yesterday, I believe, which is what if regulators don't let banks access DeFi yields? What happens to us, right? Because that's our whole sort of hypothesis, thesis, and all the rest of it, like where we're focused on. That's a very real possibility, but I think traditional finance and big finance in general has a lot of obviously power within the United States and globally. Of course, they're going to push back on this because they pocket the spread, right? They give you 1 or 2% and they loan it out at 7, 8%, and they make a load of money off it, and they give you nothing in return. I think if they realized what DeFi can do, not just yields, but DeFi as a whole, to allow people to have better control of their money, give their money more value, make it cheaper and easier to send, to exchange and whatnot, banks should be afraid, right? Because it destroys their business model, which is a super predatory business model. But to answer your question, there is a real risk that they can just push back and say, we don't want DeFi lending markets. But what we go on to explain in this is we're focused on neobanks and fintechs for 2 reasons. Number one, it's where the sort of the money conscious users are, right? You're using a neobank because you have money, you want to exchange it, you want to invest it, or whatever it is. You're money conscious. And number two is it's to compete with the traditional finance market, right? It's to actually, what I call that Netflix moment or that Spotify moment, where it flips the industry on its head and those banks are forced to compete somehow. But on top of that, if that wall was to go kaput, people need to understand that this tech can be used for any business, right? It can be used for any wallet provider, payment provider. It can be used for a decentralized exchange, perpetual exchanges, games, right? So gaming was one area that we looked at previously. Imagine somebody playing GTA and earning more in yield on their game on GTA than they would on their bank. Like, there's lots of cool things you can do, and there's a lot of interest there. But this would be a small blow, but we would just move towards another area that we could capture those users and that yield from. So yeah, that's sort of where we're going with it.
Yeah, love it. Dude, I think there's a disconnect, at least for me there was. Again, I'm still like understanding this stuff, but I didn't understand how much the banks really do make off of your money when they're giving you that 1 or 2%. And then I see what you can earn in crypto, right? And I'm like, well, it didn't feel like it could be real. I'm like, that's so much more. It has to be a scam. And the reality is, no, the other side is the scam. The other side is the scam of them keeping so much of what they're earning off your money, and new way to do stuff. And I still think we're gonna, eat the other side. I love that you've kind of curated the protocols that you're putting on the platform that you allow people to connect to. I forget the term you use for that, how you refer to those other protocols like Aave, and there's a term you used that was cool. I'll go back and watch it and hear. But I guess future partners, can people expect that if there is like a yield farming protocol they're connecting to through Neox, that you vetted it, that it's trustworthy? Yeah, that would make sense.
Yeah, we have to purposely build the rails into those pools. So it's not like our system, because people say, what about AI hallucinating, right? And I might say, okay, well, what if it just puts it on Beefy where there's very thin liquidity? Well, it can't put it on Beefy Finance because we haven't built the road or the pathway or the bridge, which is the wrong term, to connect the assets to those pools. So, I'm sure in the future there'll be a much easier way to link up all these various different types of markets and pools and whatnot. But, we need to remember that where blockchain is now is where online banking was in the late 90s. I read about that. And then my second surprise was there was online banking in the late 90s. So we're very early. So it's a very mechanical process. It's a very sort of developer and tech heavy process. You can't vibe code it because it's just, there's so many exploits that could potentially happen. So it's a very hands-on process.
Yeah, I love that it's not just this like open protocol. Anybody can, kind of plug their protocol in, and right. Like I love that it's curated. I love that it feels safe. Good stuff. Okay. So you mentioned before there are agents involved with this too. And it's really interesting how they're used to help like forecast where the best yields are going to be, maybe where the current yields are maybe trending the wrong way. And they're reallocating, I guess, like on the fly. Explain that, because that's fascinating.
Yeah. So every 24 hours, the system looks to rebalance. So let's say it's 12 p.m. in the day, every day. At that moment in time, you might have, let's just choose Aave on base, might have the highest yields. That doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be the most profitable pool that day or the highest yields that day. We see spikes all the time. So our yield agent, if you will, it's all like an engine, let's say, but we call it agent because it's easier to understand, right? So there's a yield portion that specifically is designed to forecast short-term horizon yields, which is 24 hours in advance, to try and capture those best opportunities, right? And so what it will do is look at on-chain data. It's all based on-chain, and we'll look at historical performance, inflows, outflows, activity, and then based on what it's seen previously, we'll determine whether those yields are likely to spike or not spike or stay the same for the next 24 hours, right? And you can see this all the time. If you go onto Aave and you go onto Avalanche and you look at the last 6 months, and then you go onto Base and you look at the last 6 months, you'll see every now and again, every few days, there's a spike, right? So it might go from 5 to 10% for a day or two and then come back down again. Our goal is to capture those spikes, right? And this is how the cross-chain aspect works really, really well versus just a single chain solution. If you're on a single chain, you'll generate maybe, let's say, over 6 months, an average of 5%. Very good yields, don't get me wrong, much better than what a bank can do. But if it's spiking from 5 to 10 to 8 to 12 to 9 to 6 to whatever it is across different chains, you can then move the assets across those different chains to capture those higher yields that you wouldn't be able to do yourself. So that's the ultimate sort of theory behind it. So the yields agent attempts to forecast that and predict that in advance, and then move the capital either when it happens or before it happens. Then there's the sort of the risk mitigation engine, and that really is about preserving capital. It overrules everything, right? It's all about capital preservation above all else. If there's a good opportunity, let's say there's a pool that has, I don't know, let's say 12% today, but the liquidity in that pool, so the amount of money in that pool might be, let's say, $10 million. And we're trying to move $20 million around. Well, if we put $20 million into a pool that has $10 million, we own 66% of that pool. That's extremely high risk. So we own 2/3 of it. We won't want to own anything more than 10, 15%. So it might put a portion in that pool to capture that yield and then route the rest elsewhere to basically mitigate that risk. It also looks at depegging events, pool health and anomalies. So it looks at, what the activity is in any given pool, congestion charges, gas costs, and other things as well. And then the routing agent is more of a logic base. So it just takes what the yield agent and the risk agent do and then routes the capital automatically based on where those opportunities are.
What goes into like training these agents to then be able to see those opportunities either right before they happen or move quickly as they're happening, right? Is that, I guess that's maybe a question about, more the background of the team.
Yeah, so we can go into it. So our CTO, he's based here as well in Manchester, where I'm based currently. He's worked on Web3 for probably about 10 plus years, has shipped around 20 products from ideation to actual like full-blown projects in that time as well. He has his own dev shop during that time across DeFi, Metaverse, GameFi. So very well-rounded. And more importantly, has a history of actually shipping products, right? So delivering products, actual live products, which is very important in this space. It's all vaporware, right? So to have that is fantastic. And then we have our sort of AI engineer who's also based here in Manchester, studied in King's College London, is now doing a PhD in deep learning up here. And he's sort of the one, again, I don't fully, understand the depths that he would. Obviously, I don't have a PhD in deep learning, but basically the way it works is you pull in all the on-chain data from many different sources, and you train the model to look for patterns, right? And this is why it's important for us to get this product live, because it's one thing trying to identify patterns in simulations and stuff like that, but in the real world, making those decisions is invaluable. And so over time, it learns. If it makes a mistake, you tweak it, you tweak the algorithm, and then it's sort of, recorrect it. You're sort of teaching a baby how to learn itself. And then ultimately it's sort of self-thinks, self-learns, and then optimizes that way. So with these sort of things, the longer these engines are running, the more reliable they become. So that's in a nutshell, a very high level of how that sort of works. And then our COO, we've got devs and all the rest, but our COO is based in London. He's sort of ex-TradFi. He's worked at Barclays Bank, which is a massive bank in the UK, HSBC, Bank of America, actually, and a whole host of others. So he's definitely on the ground there with that sort of side of things, which is perfect for what we're looking to do with the neobanking and fintech side.
Awesome. I love that you guys are doxed, and like, still, I tell people like maybe the main purpose of, bringing, the founders, the teams on this show, it's okay. Everybody's got these like awesome write-ups about their project and descriptions, and the white papers look great, but you got to meet the team and you got to hear from them in their own words, like why did the people that can actually build that thing and deliver it. And again, this is why I think you guys have already, you're just that different caliber. You can hear that. We can tell, I can at least, that you guys can build the thing you're talking about. I believe that. So really, really cool to hear.
Thank you.
I don't know if I'm gonna have time to get all these questions in, which is a good problem to have. It just means we'll have to do this again too at some point. Do customers? Okay, is the process, the yield farming through your platform, is it completely automated, or can customers like pick and choose where they're earning from? Is all the money going in like one bucket and kind of invested together?
Great question. The answer is at the moment it's all in one strategy. Phase 3, which is the modular architecture for neobanks and fintechs, that's what we call where you can pick and choose, and I'll explain why. So, are you familiar with Giza?
No.
So Giza is a sort of agentic or a DeFi agent that moves capital around for people to help them get the best yields. But it's on the single wallet level and it's on the single chain level, right? So if you deposit on Base, it'll optimize on Base. If you deposit on Sonic, it'll optimize on Sonic, but it won't move your assets from Base to Sonic and vice versa. Nearly all agent sort of systems won't, agentic systems. And the reason being is because of the cost, right? So to deposit in a Base pool costs like, let's say 0.1 of a cent. To withdraw from that pool costs 0.1 of a cent. So you can move capital around every single day, and it's very, very cheap for the users. Even if you put, $100 in, you're going to be generating more yield than the fees that you spend, right? But once you move across chain, then you've got like fixed costs of like 20 to 25 cents, right? Plus deposit and withdrawal fee. Now, if you're doing that every single day, 25 cents, 25 cents, 25 cents, that eats into the yield that you can generate. So you need to be depositing thousands in order to make it really worthwhile, because that all adds up. And so if you're doing that on the individual level, like Giza does, and you've got 10,000 wallets moving across chain at 10,000 transactions per day separately, then you're paying, $2,300 in gas per day of the user's money just to move it across chain. What we do is we batch transactions. So we'll take those 10,000, let's say, individual balances, and we'll batch them, and then we'll move it across for 23 cents. So that's why it's all together rather than individual. And that's the reason why people can't customize it. At the moment, it's very difficult to offer that unless people are willing to pay the gas themselves. Which again brings in more complexity, and people need to know about DeFi and gas on different chains, and we're trying to abstract that. The modular infrastructure that we spoke about will be very unique in that regard. So the bank itself can go, we don't want to touch DeFi lending, that's too high risk. We want to earn it from private credit, for example, or T-bills, or we want to earn yield from gold, or whatever it might be. And so they can tick those boxes, tick the chains they want to earn it from, and then only USDC, for example, because it's regulated in the US. And then they earn a yield or the best yield they can within those constraints. So each individual bank or fintech or wallet provider will have their own separate strategies based on their risk profile and whatever else.
Man, that's all a perfect segue into the next couple of questions, which is what chains, and I think you've touched on some of this already, but what chains are going to be, I guess, integrated from the start, but also like what types of assets, and then where do you see that going over the next few years?
Yeah, so we've started like really, really safe. Which in crypto isn't sexy, but it's, sometimes you got to take the right path to sort of, stand the test of time.
I mean, people are changing now. I think everybody's looking for like safe and a little more like, as automatic as you can get.
Yeah, I think people realize that investing in the wrong coin in 2025 lost you far more money than, putting it in a 5% yield pool. The downside was much higher this cycle, I think, and this year in particular. But so from our point of view, we're EVM chain specific right now. So we're Optimism, Arbitrum, Base, and Avalanche. We do have Ethereum turned on in the background, but the gas fees are particularly high. So you want to wait until you get to much higher TVL amounts before it starts to make sense from a profitability perspective. And then we'll focus more on, again, EVM chains initially, because once you've got one EVM chain, it's just easier to sort of add more on. So you're looking at Polygon, and there'll be a couple of Monad, for example, and then we'll start looking at non-EVM chains, particularly Solana as number one, and then Sui probably is another. Hype EVM is going to be another EVM. Obviously, now that Hyperliquid has sort of created that connecting bridge, we can sort of earn on Hyperliquid. So we have a list there, I would say, of about 12 chains that we want to plug into by the end of 2026. And around up to 16 protocols that we've identified as like the first initial protocols that we want to plug into. And it's your big players, right? It's your Aave, your Morpho, your Pendle, like those guys.
Awesome stuff. Do you have like learning resources on your website too for people who are newer to yields in general and like the concepts and some of these bigger platforms, like knowledge bases, anything like that?
Yeah, so we don't go so much into the actual just general education piece around yields. Now, if you go onto our website, the documentation piece will really go into depth about the product itself, how the infrastructure works. You got the TLDR, which is obviously a very high level of what we're trying to do and how it works for a quick sort of 60-second, 90-second read. But you can dive into the individual sections on the left-hand side and go through basically our thought process of the product as a whole. There are some obviously really good educational resources about DeFi in general. People want to learn about yields. Obviously, YouTube is great. Type into the search bar, and if you want to look at what projects or pools or protocols have the best yields, DeFi Llama, as I say, is like a really good go-to. And just dig around and become familiar with it. It's pretty interesting.
Yeah, cool. I mean, I look at it like an opportunity. Like I want to learn about it, and I do this every day, and I want to share what I learn. And this is, I think, one of the best opportunities out there for just a way to, like, I mean, guys, grow your skill set, grow, kind of, just grow where you're looking at and playing here in crypto. A lot of us have been so focused on, NFTs or meme coins or even just these majors. And there's a whole other, I don't want to call it a game, but there's a whole other game out there and ways to be, winning here in crypto. So I dig this. Now, last question. I think it's an important one. Especially considering this market, which is, okay, you launched on virtuals, you have a token live. What's the ticker even? It's Neox. Does token have utility like on the platform? Is anything gated by the token?
So right now the token we're looking at implementing staking for APY rewards, right? So it's something that we are bringing in sort of sections and batches. But the main utility, like I said, is boosted APYs or rewards alongside the native yields that you get. There will be simple things like which have already activated, which is buybacks and burn, or buyback and redistribution. But the big thing for the B2B side is the locking up of supply, right? So the way it works in phase 2, we have a revenue share model. That's a general purpose API. Again, everyone sort of shares the same strategies, but the businesses, so we embed the API in, let's say, a game. Their users generate yield via that API. We give the game some rewards or revenue share for bringing their users, which they can then use as additional runway or token buybacks or competition rewards or just general revenue, whatever they decide. They can increase their revenue share by locking up a portion of our tokens. And as long as it's locked, they will receive the higher percentage of the revenue share. So if they're bringing a lot of volume, it makes sense for them to lock up our token for a prolonged period of time to get more rewards for themselves and their overall their ecosystem. Likewise, with the dashboard side of things, if we have, for example, a hedge fund, there's a performance fee. That performance fee can be reduced by buying and locking up our supply for a period of time. As long as it's locked, they'll get reduced fees, which makes sense. If you're routing $10 million of capital at 10% yield, you want to save as much on fees as possible. And so you'll have to buy a large chunk of the overall supply and lock it up, but it will be worthwhile. And so, yeah, that's what we're looking at the B2B side, is to integrate it so that the businesses who have a lot of capital are incentivized to buy large portions of the token and lock it indefinitely to receive those rewards. So for us, it's all about, removing supply, and then offering boosted rewards to people who hold on for a longer period of time as well.
Yeah, I love that. It sounds very thoughtful. So it all sounds great. Maybe, okay, last question. This is just, it's kind of wrapping up everything or tying it all together, which is, platform in beta now, or do you consider it like live now?
Live on mainnet. Yeah, we're just going through some upgrades now. So it's very important for us to get the actual app live before launch. That's just a personal, like I said, I've been around since 2017. For me, that's a very personal thing, because one thing I really dislike about the space is people raise millions or tens of millions off of nothing but an idea, and they never deliver.
Never.
And so we're saying, hey, listen, we've already built the app, it's live now, and now we're going to launch. Now, it was 2 hours before TGE, but better late than never. So there's a couple of bugs we're ironing out, but it is live on mainnet. You can generate actual returns on it, which is great. It's not like a test net or anything else. And yeah, super proud of that. We'll continue to sort of build it out. And our next phase is to obviously finish off the API. We have 12 companies lined up to try that, the V1 of the API, which is really cool, across perpetual dexes, marketplaces, a launch pad as well. So yeah, really excited.
Wow, dude, really, really, really cool. You've got to come back and we'll do some like an update as you hit some milestones in your roadmap. But yeah, really incredible, and you're awesome. So appreciate you coming on, Jeff.
Absolutely. Thanks so much. Really appreciate it. Been a pleasure.
Man. Yeah, likewise. And guys, make sure you follow them. It's Neox Infra over on X. The tokens on virtuals, and again, like this is, for me, I just, one of those spidey sense things, feels different, feels like some of those really, those special ones that are out there. So we'll be talking about this one as we go forward too. Hope to get my hands on it and start playing. It's new for me. Anyway, thank you again, Jeff. Guys, well, shoot, I was going to wish you a Merry Christmas again. I'll do it tomorrow morning because we'll be back live tomorrow morning too. So Merry Christmas Eve. Guys, have a great day. We'll see you back here tomorrow. Goodbye.